You know that old saying, perseverance pays off? Well, Marvel seems to have carved that into stone, because after failing, not once, not twice, but 3 times with the Fantastic Four, here they are again. Marvel Studios refuses to quit, and this time, they bring us Fantastic Four: First Steps. Now, buckle up, because what Marvel thought was a good idea this round is to give us a childbirth in space. Yes, you heard that right. These brilliant scientists, these supposed geniuses, actually decided it was a solid plan to take a month's pregnant woman on a cosmic robot trip. Reed Richards, a man who constantly obsesses about what could go wrong, somehow didn't consider what could go wrong if his wife went into labor, floating above Earth's atmosphere. And that's exactly what happens. Picture this, a retro-futuristic spaceship, the Invisible Woman in full labor, suspended like she's ready to launch a missile, except the payload is her baby. Meanwhile, the team is being chased by a CGI nightmare that looks like a rejected PlayStation boss fight, the Silver Surfer. And what does this cosmic courier want? The baby, like an Amazon Prime delivery. Hand me the newborn or I'll devour your planet. Meanwhile, Reed stretches out his arms like some makeshift gynecologist. Don't worry, honey, breathe, I got this. And then Ben yells, head us into the black hole. Excuse me, the only black hole here is the one you're staring at, buddy, because your sister-in-law is naked from the waist down, floating right in front of you, like an IMAX screening. Forget Galactus. The true villain here is the absolute lack of privacy. And you know what's crazier? Sue could literally make herself invisible. That's her whole deal. But nope, she's floating in plain view, legs up, while her brother and brother-in-law get a front row seat. Use your powers, woman. But hey, maybe she thought turning invisible would make Pedro Pascal even more anxious. So yeah, that scene is insane. And it's not the only absurd moment in this movie, because then we get Sue Storm by herself absolutely wrecking Galactus. Thanks to what? The power of love. The power of family. She literally drags him through city blocks, like she's Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious, Cosmic Drift. And if that wasn't enough deja vu, the climax rips off Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Remember when Finn tries to sacrifice himself and gets cut off? Yeah, beat for beat, it happens here. So yes, this movie is packed with ridiculous moments, and yet, somehow, it works. And that's the paradox I want to talk about today. The story starts in Earth 828, a world trapped in the 1960s. But with tech decades beyond our own, in this universe, every world government somehow unites within days to build massive satellite antennas that would normally take 10 years. Convenient? Sure. But it sets up the aesthetic. Part Jetsons, part Mad Men. And I've gotta say, I love it. This alternate world is where the Fantastic Four aren't just superheroes, they're a family. A family awaiting their newest member. But that joy quickly collapses when Shallabal, the Silver Surfer, lands in Times Square to declare Earth's doom. Her master, Galactus, is on his way. And unless they hand over Sue and Reed's unborn child, who will supposedly cure his eternal hunger, their world is toast. Now don't think too hard about why this baby would cure the hunger of a cosmic god. Just don't. Disconnect your logic circuits and enjoy the chase, because that section is genuinely thrilling. Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal. I'll be honest, I was skeptical about Pascal's casting. Could he handle Reed's mix of arrogance, brilliance, and burden? Honestly, yes. This Reed isn't arrogant because of a giant ego. He's anxious. His brain convinces him that the weight of the world rests entirely on his shoulders, and he spirals because of it. There's a moment where he admits to his unborn child, "Something's wrong with me," and it's one of the film's best scenes. Pascal locks into that guilt and fear, and it hits. Johnny Storm, Joseph Quinn. I was bracing for a smarmy, cocky Johnny, but what I got instead was an unexpectedly earnest hero. Sure, he teases Ben and acts immature, but he's constantly rising to the occasion. He's willing to sacrifice himself to protect the world or his nephew, and you really buy it. Quinn gives him charm without making him obnoxious, and I loved that balance. Ben Grimm, Ebon Moss-Backrack. Finally, Ben gets to show off his piloting skills. Long overdue. His rocky exterior hides a lot, but honestly, it feels like parts of his story ended up on the cutting room floor. Natasha Lyonne pops in with what feels like setup for a future relationship, but it's barely developed. Still, Moss-Backrack fills big shoes and nails the pathos. Let's talk editing. This movie feels cut to the bone. Montages zip by at lightning speed, giving it momentum, but also leaving holes. The Mole Man subplot clearly chopped up. Paul Walter Hauser gives a strong performance, but it feels like we missed entire bonding scenes between him and Sue. Why Marvel trimmed it? Who knows? Maybe to avoid bloated runtimes, maybe theater scheduling, or maybe they just wanted a leaner cut. Either way, it leaves you wanting more. But where the film shines is in its second act. The retro-futuristic design, the negotiation with Galactus, the cosmic chase, all phenomenal. This is superhero cinema at its best, taking everyday anxieties, like the fear of becoming a parent, and blowing them up to cosmic scale, with a space god demanding your child. That's powerful, relatable, and insane, all at once. The final battle, though, too safe. Galactus is built up as an unstoppable cosmic force, but the cost of defeating him doesn't hit hard enough. No one sacrifices anything meaningful. No one pays a price. Sue dies briefly, only to be resurrected in a goofy, baby-focused moment. After all that doom and fear, the ending ties everything up, a little too neatly. Visually, First Steps is stunning. The effects, leagues ahead of some recent Marvel disasters. Galactus looks imposing, the 60s-inspired set design, gorgeous, the costumes, perfect mix of comic camp and cinematic polish, and Giacchino's score absolutely elevates nearly every big moment. And then there's the MCU connective tissue. Thankfully, this story stands alone, without requiring homework. But of course, Marvel can't resist a tease. The mid-credit scene, the back of Doctor Doom's head, predictable, but it got the crowd buzzing. So, where do I land? Fantastic Four. First Steps is a bizarre mix of brilliance and stupidity. On one hand, it's got some of the most ridiculous sequences Marvel has ever put to screen, and I mean ridiculous. On the other hand, it's entertaining, heartfelt at times, visually striking, and true to the whimsical Silver Age logic of its source material. It's not a masterpiece. The pacing is odd, the editing is messy, and the third act doesn't quite deliver the gut punch it should have. But it's fun. It's charming. And honestly, it's easily the best Fantastic Four movie we've gotten so far. For me, it's a solid 7 out of 10. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but I definitely had a good time. Now, I want to hear from you. What did you think of Fantastic Four? First Steps? Did it land for you? Or did the space childbirth break your brain? Drop your rating and your take below, because your thoughts might help someone decide whether or not to give this one a shot. As always, thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next one.